You ain't got to concern yourself with digital ID. Imagine this is actually a good point, you know? Right, that you have options like this. If this video is being cut without showcasing what we've just walked past and some of the beautiful places, just this alone, right? These are options. When I say options, what I'm talking about is there's other places on Earth. Talking to specifically the UK, what's happening, digital ID, without even trying to fight and battle that, which everyone should be. It's just important to know, bigger, for your health, for your mental health. Me and Amy literally drove there. Me and Amy have driven all over Europe. Serbia, Bosnia, Croatia, Montenegro. We've driven through Germany, Spain, France, Portugal, Slovenia, Hungary. We've driven through Belgium. Where else have we driven? You can, if you have a car, that's pretty cool. You can literally get in your car and drive here, and it would take you around 24 hours.
Where we are?
Yeah.
If you didn't stop and you had someone to swap with, you could do it in about 18 hours.
So, point being is, if you're fixed, if the problem is right now, you're fixed in one location, then that's actually good news. Because that's an easy problem to solve. If that's the only thing, like, well, my job is here. Okay, do you want to do that job forever? Is that where you see your foreseeable future? And do you feel like you're actually living your life or existing it? And if the answer is no, well, good, there's the initiation to start solving that problem. And what I always use as an example in this case is there is people way stupider, way less talented, way less skilled, way less professional maybe, but I don't know exactly who I'm speaking to, that are being paid maybe 10x online, being able to go anywhere they want. I'm not saying it's us. I'm not even putting us in this situation right now. I'm saying that's happening for people that are even younger than 20. And there's two main things that you need to get that. First of all, you need the component within yourself where no matter what, you're going to make that happen if that's what you want. You are going to make that happen. Doesn't matter how it looks. I don't care. It's going to happen. And I'm going to die trying. Right? That's the first thing you need. And the second component is just opportunity. You just need an opportunity to exchange your time and energy, like you are already, in a fixed location, with a business that operates online, that doesn't need you in an office, that doesn't need you in a location. And this is where we come in. We facilitate the guidance and the help and the support to help people understand what that focus would be. One of the things that I'm really good at is understanding who people are. Because clearly this dog doesn't know I'm recording a video. So the point is an element of clarity, and that could actually happen in a single conversation. You're an element of clarity away from what to focus on in order to break free from where you may be. That conversation is half the work. The other half is showing up to do it and implement it. So everything's happening right now with the UK essentially being China 10 years behind. No matter how you skin it, even if, let's even say, the digital ID fight is won and people refuse to comply. there's still, this is the thing, there's still businesses that will implement it. The businesses will implement it, which will put more pressure on the people. And the bigger concern for me is, I don't want to be spending my time and energy battling tyranny, treason. What's some other words? Now, look up the meaning of these words. Tyranny, treason. You've got, what's the other one I thought was the other day? You've got the betrayal. Corruption, yeah, there's a specific word I'm looking for that describes intention and design to destroy your natural right to life. Yeah. You could call it a conspiracy. A conspiracy, by its definition, is plotting, creating an agenda, creating a game plan, sophisticatedly putting time and energy into it to get a certain outcome. And you don't need to look far, because it's in the public eye. Go and look at what they talk about in the World Economic Forum. Look at the plans, look at what they're laying out. So you're in this position where every element of denial or ignorance is seconds you're wasting not responding. So the alarm bell is going off. Yeah, the alarm bell's going off. You're being told that there's a tsunami coming. And you're kind of sat hoping it doesn't happen. Until it does. And the only difference between the people that made it out of the area safely is they took action and they moved. So, again, there are options. You know, and this is actually a very beautiful area. You don't even need to come in. You can even go to certain parts of Bosnia. And it's important you only lean on people that have experience. Nothing else. Oh, what's that country? He's not from Belarus. Anyway, speaks Russian. And I was having a conversation with him yesterday. And he was in the UK talking about how much better it is in Russia. And then talking about the stereotype or the uneducated opinion that people have of Russia. And they think it's a third world country and all this kind of bullshit. I mean, this to me like thinking tap water is good to drink. It's that same level, like as a general consensus, tap water's fine, right? Tap water's fine, but when you actually understand, tap water's a poison we're all chronically exposed to, and you truly become educated on that, you realise the difference. It's the same with how people perceive different countries and nations. Oh, that's a third world country, and oh, that's war-torn over there, right? There's like stuff going on. And to go back to Bosnia, fucking hell, within my fucking maybe older brother's lifetime, there was war going on in those areas.
The year I was born.
The year you was born.
Yeah.
So 33 years ago, I'm gonna have a sore on my feet. These clips. But these countries, like I say, we're in a particularly beautiful zone and area. But you don't even need to come in. You can initially just start exploring where the most cost-effective places are. And again, me and Amy are not examples, to be honest. We're really not examples of the average individual. And that's just the decision we both make that particularly comes out of my mouth are like standards. I have really high standards. There's requirements and needs in order for me to fulfill my needs, and vice versa with Amy. So there's that. Those standards slightly change. If I'm on my own, I've just come back from Georgia, I'm spending, it still might be perceived as a lot, I don't know, but I'm spending like 50 euros a night on an apartment. Here we're spending north of 130. You can still get the experience you're looking for without having to break the bank. If you're living in the UK, it's going to be cheaper. And if you do have a car, I highly recommend, because it's a spiritual experience, you drive the land. Something about flying, it disconnects you. It completely disconnects you from the journey. You can have a great flight, you can have a great flight team, but what do you really know? First of all, the flight paths that are shown on the screen are all bullshit, because you're following a model that doesn't exist and make sense. And there's hundreds and hundreds of cases of people talking about stories where there needed to be an emergency landing, someone medically on board needed supervising or whatever it is. They go to the nearest country, the landing strip they can land, and on the map it should be somewhere like France. They end up stopping off in Canada. You're like, what the fuck? And don't take my word for this, this is important. You look at these cases, these stories, these anecdotes people sharing. It's basically to destroy the concept of the globe model. But the point is, you're sat in a seat, you don't really know anything. You know, if you fall asleep, when you get to your place, you're like, okay, this is Bosnia, this is Croatia, this is wherever you go. But you missed what took you there. Normally dealing with someone's elbow. In the luxury of our own car, we can stop, talk, blast our music. Obviously we got a dog, so Shadow doesn't have to be put in the cabin of a plane. There's so many benefits to driving. This is how it all started for us. With a big build up, I should have done it way sooner. But divine timing and all that. Being in a relationship, Amy a little bit uncertain of like, what are we gonna do? But Charlie, what are we gonna do to earn money? We haven't got any money. Right, and I'm just like, I don't give a fuck, we'll figure it out. Because we're not gonna sit around and pick our asses, we'll figure it out. It's gonna be easier to figure it out when we get out there. So let's get in a car. In the first place we drove to Spain. And a little Nissan Micra that I'm actually mind blown, it made it. And back. Although it did break on the way back, the windscreen wipers stopped working.
Well, they made it to Portugal, and then it was on the way back.
Made it to Portugal later, it got really far. And the car was essentially running okay. But it was a really old car, it was a little Nissan Micra. And we had the windscreen wipers stop working. The mechanism inside had like disconnected and broken. So we literally drove the last 7 hours. It happened to just piss down with rain also.
Oh, down with rain.
Fucking eyes over the steering wheel like fucking hell. I did most of the driving in the dark, pissing down, and I remember being behind lorries. I remember choosing to stay behind the lorries so I could at least use the lights as this guide. Super dangerous, but we made it. And I'm saying that because we packed our stuff, literally rammed it in the car, and went and left. We had one place booked, Airbnb, and you can take the initial asking price on Airbnb, or you can do what we do, in which we share, in which we teach, in which we educate, because it's not random. There's a system, there's a process that enables us to save like 7-8 grand on Airbnbs, maybe half the asking rate. We look at it from a nightly perspective, we find a budget of what we're not willing to go over for a nightly budget, and then we look at properties that are more expensive, but with a combination of knowing how to communicate, and we're actually valuable guests, very respectful, very professional, very caring, very considerate. You see that on all of our reviews. We book for a longer period, so you get a better price. This is of course only if you want to do what we're doing. But if you are, everything I just said is irrelevant to you, because I don't know if you truly are in support or not even fazed by the digital ID. You're like, yeah, I want to live in the UK. Then you're on the wrong page. I'm just going to likely piss you off, because I have no time for that. Because on a real level, there is declarations of war all the time. An inevitable part of life is war. You know, it's not always guns and bombs and missiles. That is war. But war's more than anything spiritual and corporate. The UK can be so powerful because it is such a stronghold. First of all, if you're an individual paying tax in the UK and you're paying out your arsehole, you give every bit of ounce to your job and your work, and you still can't afford things, congratulations, you're complicit in the largest scam that's ever been portrayed onto human beings. And I don't care what anyone says, that is slavery. It's slavery in a form that's sophisticated enough for people to not challenge it as slavery. It is slavery, because you don't know the root of where the corruption comes in, which ties back to money and loads of other things. You're in a country that's incredibly easy to defend. Its borders are incredibly easy to defend. It's one of the easiest places on earth to defend the borders. Why? Because it's a small island. It's surrounded by water. So how is there so many illegal invaders right now? Think about that. That is a negligent, irresponsible, incompetent act from a government that taxes everyone's arsehole for the purpose of what governments are supposed to do. They're supposed to protect a nation. All the money's going to the Navy, the Army, the police and everything that's meant to be there to protect the people. They are using your tax money to fund them coming over. They are funding the invasion. They're literally funding it. They're planning it, funding it. They designed it, they calculated it. For reasons, now that I'm back home, I ain't got time to explain. But it's happening. And to be in any way, shape or form around or a part of that, engaging in it, and just through principle, paying for it, and okay with it, may God help you. But if you're not, and you're like, yeah, Charlie, I know that's ridiculous, yeah, I know what's happening, just tell me how the fuck to do what you're doing, cut to the chase. Can't be done in this video. You can find it though in the mailing list. Everything's in the mailing list.
I have a mailing list. Would you believe it? And that mailing list is where I provide all exclusive, uncensored information, wisdom, tools, free resources, invitations. Yeah, no, all the kind of basic stuff. And I realized what I have to offer often gets me pulled off social media. So the only way I can give you this direct source of wisdom is on the mailing list.
Just shut your mouth. Or have you?